Hey, what up, you guys? Peek out here in Singapore. It's been a couple days, but I had to take a break. I had to step back a little bit. Um, been kind of stuck in my own way a little bit. Netflix is kicking my ass a little. um, but I also felt like I needed the break. It's all timely. A lot of times, just before I get my menses, I get a little irritable and a little bit more touchy than normal, and it's not the best place for me to kind of try and help people because I'm not feeling so great about myself either. So I decided to take a step back and have a couple conversations with people, but not as often as I usually do. Like whenever I get on here and talk to you guys, just because I've talked to someone, I've listened to something, I've read something, I've done a lot of work. But this time it was the conversations that found me, not the ones I sought out, that felt really good. I happened to be doing a live video with my daughter. I think we were making pancakes, I think, and my sister-in-law touched base, and it was nice to hear from her. I hadn't spoken to her in quite some time, so I had a chat with her, and it was really nice because the last time we had spoken, we were both going through some things. So it was nice to kind of touch base and kind of find a new normal. It was nice. And then this morning when I woke up, I woke to a message saying, "Hey, do you have time? Can you talk?" And I was thinking, "Okay, yeah, this person never messages me. She doesn't reach out that often. Let me check in and see what's going on." And the ensuing conversation wasn't necessarily anything out of the ordinary. People call me for various reasons. Sometimes they need, another pair of eyes, someone else to just look over what they're doing, just to, bounce some ideas off of or run something by me, just to get another opinion. And I'm totally fine with that. That's really great because I have a really great circle of friends and they're all doing their own work, at their own pace in their own way. And I love it, right? So this young lady actually messaged me, asked if I had time. And I was like, yeah, sure, absolutely. I had just woken up, but I thought, why not? I felt good about it. So I jumped in to the conversation, and what started out as something she was asking me for help with, as I was explaining, excuse me, as I was explaining what I saw, I felt myself lift a little bit. And this funk I've been in for a couple of days, it felt like I needed to say it out loud, and I needed for her to receive the information, and the way she received her reaction was what basically lifted me. I wasn't doing anything that I don't already do for a lot of people. But sometimes parts of my business I can't name. I don't know how to say what it is that I do in that moment. Obviously, I teach about emotions. Obviously, I feel like, if you manage your emotions, you can manage pretty much anything else. You can't control them, they just kind of happen. But if you make it a habit to dig deep and find out where exactly it's coming from, it will help you with every other human connection you'll ever have. Which is why I don't niche down. I don't talk about just parenting. I don't talk about just marriage advice. I don't talk about, colleagues, students that you teach. I don't talk about, how you relate to your teachers or how you relate to your boss. I talk about human emotions in general. Period. Point blank. That's it, because I know it has far reaching value. But today's conversation was pretty damn amazing to me because it was timely. I needed it, and I didn't know where I needed it from. Let me give you an example. I've been trying to knock out this presentation that I need to put together, and it's for a business collaboration I have in the works already. And I wanted to hit all the high notes of the things that I can accomplish within a business environment if I were to come in and do workshops. But for some reason, I could not find what I had been looking for. I knew for whenever I get inspiration, right, I write it down in a memo that I have on my phone because I don't always have pen and paper with me. I have several notebooks laid out around the house and around my purses. I just don't know where I'm going to be. So I write it in my phone because my phone obviously is going to be everywhere I go, right? We can't live without our phones. But I had written down a timestamp in a YouTube video. And for the life of me, for the last 2 days, literally, I've been listening to that same Mind Valley Academy video on YouTube where Vishen Lakhiani was talking to John and Missy Butcher about the life book program that they have. And there was an instant in there where they explained emotions the way that he saw it, and it was exactly what I was looking for, the inspiration. See, what I need to do sometimes is go back to the inspiration of what I heard so I can hear it again and get re-inspired and then write it down. But what ended up happening was I went back to that memo. I got the time. It was the timestamp is at 14 minutes into the program. It's about 51 minutes worth of, speaking of a video. And I went to, time marker 14. I went before that. I went after that. I went all over. I listened to it from beginning to end twice. And for some reason, that one part that jumped out at me before was no longer jumping out at me. And I couldn't figure out. And I was like, wow, and I got really stuck. I got stuck, as in, like, I focused on that one video and I stopped looking for that information anywhere else. I tried looking for everything I could find about Lifebook, Lifebook, Lifebook. And you know what? I couldn't find it. I found another aspect of the video that would help, but it's almost like what was inspiration at one point maybe isn't inspiration now, and Spirit's way of telling me this isn't what you need to be looking for right now. So the conversation this morning kind of knocked me off balance because I wasn't looking for anything to do with my business. I was completely open, ready to listen and lend an ear to my friend. And what ended up happening was it kind of hit me back. Spirit got both of us at the same time. And I love that. That synchronicity is amazing because when that happens, you really do know that both of you are kind of aligned in your goals, and you're not in competition. You're actually walking the same path together. Just my approach is different, your approach is different. I realized today that there is an aspect of my business where I am a muse. I see possibilities for people. I see what you could turn your business into. I see the various connections that you could pull into your business to make it better, stronger. And maybe that's a marketing thing, and maybe it's not. But the fact that I was able to connect one friend and her business, which is shamanic, and she deals with medicine wheels, is very, earth grounded. I love it. I don't know much about it, but I do love it. And the fact that she deals with a lot of artists lately, I was able to see the connection. Emotionally, I was able to see the connection. The fact that Spirit gives you these opportunities to voice your feelings. Maybe it's poetry, maybe it's art, maybe you make things, maybe you concoct your own herbal remedies, maybe it's skincare, makeup, it could be one of a million things. But let's take painting, for example. A lot of times if you are upset, sometimes painting is the best way for you to actually release that pain. And that's why people go to such lengths to procure art and keep it around their homes, because sometimes the painting speaks to you. Sometimes the art comes out of the artist and onto the canvas, and then the canvas ends up in whoever's home, and it kind of calms the person or inspires the person or reminds them of a time that they overcame somehow. And I love that about art. But the connection I needed to make for my friend was the fact that she was trying to help the person, the artists in her life that came to her for help, to use the shamanic stuff that she teaches in order for them in turn to teach more people. And it was a very simple thing. It came about as something very apparent to me, and I voiced it. And the breath she took reminded me that I have this ability to really reach people when it comes to inspiration in business. I can't tell you how to run a business. I can't tell you how to, put together the process that you need to make sure that the money stays in your bank account. I don't know how to do all that. I'm still learning. But I do see inspiration, and I am able to help people be as natural as they can about themselves. Don't change who you are based on what your coaches or whoever is trying to tell you what to do. You've got to trust yourself as well. Obviously, for you to even be on a journey where you're trying to create a different line of income coming into your life, it's something that you followed on your own. No one coached you to doing that. You had this pull, you had this dream, something that came about in your own life. Hey, Celestine, I just noticed you're on here. Thank you so much for joining. But with that being said, you didn't ask anyone's opinion, and you didn't have anyone tell you to go ahead and start a business. Somehow you put one foot in front of the other and you did it yourself. And yes, you will have many people that come and tell you what to do and how to do it. But you also need to understand that if it feels bad, if it doesn't feel very good, there's a reason for that. I've had people tell me that I have to do this and I have to do that. It has to be done the specific way. If it doesn't feel good to me, I don't do it. That's just the bottom line. I can't, because I'd be fighting myself and fighting my coach at the same time. And what's the point of that? It's too much tension for me. For example, I worked with a place called Video House and they wanted me to be the host of a show. And I was floored. I mean, I already do live video, people know I'm around, but it was amazing to see that I might be able to actually be on the streets of Singapore and be behind a camera. And that would be really great. It'd be something different, something new for me to explore. And I felt like I was ready to do that. Now, what they wanted me to do is promote certain areas in India, certain businesses. Obviously, you need people to pay you to, do advertising for you, but it really matters how you advertise. Now, me, I'm not saying I'm a celebrity, but I already have a brand. I already have a name behind me. For me to be the host of a show, I can't lie and say, oh, this is the best ever in the world and this is the only place you should come to go shopping. That's not who I am, because it does two things. If I lie and tell you what you want me to tell the public, it becomes complete lie in the public's eye because the public knows who I am already. It means that I was paid to say something, which is not true. And then the public, if they actually think about these things, would wonder why it is this message keeps coming up over and over again. Why am I pushing this message? If it's true, I didn't have to push it the way that I was. If it's not true, there is a script to it. And that's what people need to understand. I don't want to be scripted. I want to be myself. So if I find that there are things about that business that are unique, things about the business that, would help people in general, you don't have to pay me to say those things. I would find a way to say them anyway. We parted ways. Video House and I parted ways because they were hell-bent on making me say what they wanted me to say. They were hell-bent on making me speak a language that I was not familiar with speaking. I am Tamil, but understand I'm Jaffna Tamil. The way I say things are not Singapore Tamil. And if you force me to memorize and say them out loud, it would come out jumbled. It wouldn't come out like authentic. It would come out fake. And the last thing I want to do is create a piece of work that kind of undoes what I've been creating in the first place. So in that regard, I had to say no, I had to step away. The same goes for anything in your life. If you don't feel like the advice that's being given to you is in your best interest, or you don't feel like the people that are around you are telling you what you need to do with the understanding that you're going to choose for yourself no matter what, then it's really up to you to either walk away from those people or to take their advice with a grain of salt and choose for yourself. Because at the end of the day, this business is yours. This life is yours. You choose what you do with it. I wasn't sure how to put together the business proposal that I wanted to put together, and I've been working on it for 3 days. And funnily enough, this one conversation this morning has me thinking outside of the things that I had been going around and around in my head. It reminded me of who I really was and the things that I'm out to accomplish. And so instead of being inspired by somebody else's words, it took me hearing what I was telling this young lady in our conversation today to remind me that I have it within myself. It comes out automatically. I don't have to force it. I don't have to jumpstart it with someone else's speech. If I'm quiet enough, if I'm open enough, if I just start writing, it will eventually come out. And yeah, there will probably be dozens of drafts, but it will come out. It has no choice but to, because my whole point is to help people with their emotions, is to help people live their best life, to not be at the mercy of something they don't think that they can manage. I didn't say control on purpose. You cannot control your emotions, but you can manage them if you learn to understand where they come from and what it means to you. So I hope this makes some sense. Sometimes you just need to step away from the things that you're trying to do in order to get the inspiration you need to finish them. And there's nothing quite like timely inspiration. I love you guys. I'll catch you again soon.